In the early hours of a crisp autumn morning, I found myself reflecting on the unique challenges of teaching English as a second language. I recalled a familiar classroom where the soft murmur of uncertainty blended with the hopeful glances of students. Each face told a story of dreams interrupted by hesitation, a silent battle against the fear of speaking in a new tongue. As I wandered through these vivid memories, it became abundantly clear that language learning is far more than just mastering grammar and vocabulary. It is about nurturing the confidence to express oneself freely and authentically. In that gentle ambiance, I resolved to share a journey that would explore 5 essential tips to help struggling students transform into confident speakers. This narrative emerges from real-life observations, where every misstep and every breakthrough intertwined to paint a picture of hope and progress. I remember a particularly reserved student whose eyes flickered with determination, a testament to the power of encouragement and thoughtful pedagogy. Through this story, I will guide you, the dedicated educator or curious observer, into a world where a safe, supportive environment is crafted deliberately, where mistakes are celebrated as stepping stones, where real-life communication breathes life into abstract lessons, where regular practice shapes a resilient spirit, and where technology turns every lesson into an engaging adventure. With a calm and friendly tone, I invite you to walk with me through these 5 transformative tips, assembling together the pieces of a robust, confidence-building framework for ESL classrooms. Strolling through a classroom bathed in soft daylight, I recall the subtle yet powerful shift that occurs when a nurturing environment takes shape. In one memorable experience, I observed a teacher meticulously arranging chairs into a welcoming circle, ensuring every learner felt intimately connected to their peers. In that space, each nervous smile and tentative whisper was met with kindness, and every student learned to see errors not as failures, but as part of the beautiful process of learning. I remember how a once reticent student began, almost imperceptibly, to contribute ideas, buoyed by the knowledge that here, mistakes were safe. This narrative of support was built on a foundation of consistent encouragement. Each effort was praised, every attempt acknowledged. As I wandered through the scenes of this classroom, I observed how a thoughtful layout and gentle gestures transformed the atmosphere into one where vulnerability was not feared but celebrated. I noted the strategic use of group work and peer reviews, where every voice was given space to flourish, and every shared experience became a stepping stone towards greater fluency. The teacher, with quiet authority and a warm smile, had mastered the art of turning the inevitable stumbles into magnificent opportunities for growth. In these moments, it became clear that when students feel secure, the anxious whispers of self-doubt fade, making room for the confident articulation that every language learner yearns to achieve. Walking through a day filled with vibrant energy, I encountered a classroom scene that epitomized the power of reimagining mistakes. I remember witnessing a moment when a student, still tentative about his pronunciation, delivered an imperfect word in front of his classmates. Instead of a frown or a scoff, the teacher smiled warmly and used that instance to spark a discussion about common pitfalls in language. It was in that very moment that the classroom transformed into a space of collective learning, where errors were no longer dreaded but embraced as crucial stepping stones toward improvement. I observed how the students began to see their own missteps as invitations to learn and grow, rather than as barriers to progress. This narrative of resilience was built on subtle interventions, a simple nod, a gentle correction, and a shared laugh that diffused the tension. The classroom buzzed with the realization that every mistake was a tiny lesson cloaked in disguise. The teacher recounted a personal anecdote of early language blunders, connecting with the students on a level that was both real and reassuring. As the day unfolded, I witnessed the transformation of anxiety into a curious exploration of language, where every mispronounced word and every grammatical error was welcomed as an opportunity to improve. In embracing mistakes, the students discovered that their journey to fluency was not about perfection, but about growing steadily through patience, practice, and a positive mindset. In a classroom alive with creative energy, I experienced firsthand the impact of weaving real-life communication scenarios into the tapestry of language learning. I found a scene where learners were engaged in playful role plays, simulating everyday situations, ordering a meal at a bustling cafe, asking for directions on a busy street, or discussing weekend plans. The authenticity of these scenarios breathed life into abstract language lessons, transforming classroom chatter into dynamic interactions that mimicked real-life communication. I observed how students who once relied on rehearsed sentences began to speak with spontaneous flair, their words now carrying the vibrancy of everyday experiences. The narrative of that day was one of genuine transformation as learners embraced the unpredictability of real conversations. Props were arranged thoughtfully around the room. A small table dressed with a toy menu, signposts directed to imaginary destinations, or even simple items like a telephone and a map that set the stage for lively discussions. Each role play unfolded like a mini adventure, dissolving the boundaries between classroom and real world. The teacher guided these sessions with a calm assurance, offering gentle corrections and timely feedback, ensuring that every interaction was both enjoyable and instructive. Through these immersive experiences, students began to see language not as a rigid set of rules, but as a tool of expression and connection, a medium through which real life could be lived and celebrated, one conversation at a time. On a bright, inviting morning, I wandered into a classroom where the rhythm of daily practice was the heartbeat of language learning. The scene unfolded with structured yet relaxed activities that encouraged even the shyest learners to step forward. I envisioned a space where daily warm-up questions set the stage, interactive games sparked spontaneous discussions, and group reflections provided the opportunity to share thoughts without fear. In this setting, every student was given a small but significant role in the unfolding learning process. One particular student, once a quiet observer in the corner, gradually stepped into the light, emboldened by repeated chances to contribute. I watched as the teacher, with a keen understanding of individual needs, organized mini debates and quick storytelling sessions that allowed every voice to matter. The narrative of the day was clear. Regular practice is not merely a repetitive task, but a series of meaningful moments that build self-assurance incrementally. Every practiced sentence, every shared anecdote, and every brief conversation contributed to the mosaic of confidence that the learners were crafting. The recurring rhythm of practice nurtured an environment where participation grew naturally, and anxious hesitations were replaced by a growing eagerness to speak. In this gentle daily exercise, the students discovered that the act of practicing was itself an affirmation of their progress and a celebration of their continuous journey towards fluency. In a modern classroom infused with digital energy, I witnessed how technology can serve as a powerful ally in the quest for language fluency. The room brimmed with interactive software and language apps, each designed to engage the learners in innovative ways. I observed students navigating through voice recording programs and interactive story modules that challenged them to articulate their thoughts clearly. In one particularly memorable instance, a student who had struggled with traditional methods found a spark of confidence while using a language app. As she interacted with dynamic exercises and received personalized feedback, her initial hesitance gave way to genuine enthusiasm. The narrative of that day was punctuated by vibrant multimedia presentations that made grammar rules and vocabulary come alive through colorful visuals and engaging sounds. Digital tools turned routine lessons into playful explorations, where every click and swipe opened a new window to understanding. The teacher seamlessly integrated these technologies into the curriculum, ensuring that each digital resource was both accessible and relevant. By bridging the gap between traditional instruction and modern innovation, technology provided additional pathways for students to practice speaking, receive immediate feedback, and ultimately, build the self-assurance required to express themselves freely. In the gentle hum of this tech-enriched classroom, learners began to see the digital world not as a distraction, but as a creative partner in their ongoing journey towards confident communication. As the day drew to a close, I gathered the threads of these experiences into a reflective tapestry of growth and hope. I recalled the timid expressions that gradually gave way to confident smiles, the small missteps that evolved into vibrant conversations, and the remarkable fusion of traditional wisdom with modern technology. In this journey through the realms of safe learning environments, embracing mistakes, living through real scenarios, consistent practice, and creative technology use, a beautiful transformation had taken place. The narrative had revealed that building confidence in ESL is both an art and a science, a delicate balance of empathy, innovation, and persistent encouragement. Every classroom moment, whether challenged by fear or enriched by success, contributed to a larger story of human connection and determination. In reflecting on this shared journey, I encouraged educators to view every instance of uncertainty as a precursor to breakthrough, and every moment of hesitation as a possibility for courage. Embracing the journey with open hearts and creative minds, we pave the way for learners to not only acquire language, but to celebrate the power of expression. The path to confident communication is ongoing, but each step, however small, lays the foundation for a future filled with meaningful dialogue and genuine understanding.